What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Lord of Mysteries episode 13, the finale to season 1. I am coming straight off of episode 12, and I am just way too excited to get into this to stop now, so I'm just going to get straight to it. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, consider becoming a channel member if you want to support me just that little bit extra, and let's get into this. Yeah, the end to last episode was just a bit too much of a cliffhanger for me to not just jump into this the last episode. I have been so curious to see what actually happens with Doomsday that I'm not going to wait any longer. And hey, I mean, this way, it means that y'all are guaranteed to get this on time. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. I'm very curious to see if the erratic behavior of Dunn is something that we actually need to be worried about, or if that entirely was a red herring. Because I feel like there is merit to still being concerned about that, even if what he did to Kenley was not actually an issue. Because it could still be a case that he was influenced to bring Kenley along and get the mirror and give it to Kenley for the mission, but I don't think, like, drinking his blood and taking the, like, Beyonder aspect or whatever was. Light the Clown. Oh, okay. Huh. Ooh, I love how they're doing this. Be careful. Just be careful. Yeah. Whatever this thing in Leonard's shadow is, understands what's going on a little bit. God, we're picking up right where we left off. Come on, Leonard. You can survive this, I know. Yeah, you better move quickly there, Dunn. Oh, or maybe he's coming to you guys. He just took that fall with no issue. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so it's coming down to them. Alright, let's see how this actually works. Seemingly wasn't able to fully activate it, perhaps? Oh, there's just enough of her there still that this is even more fucked up. God. The fact that we're taking this fight straight into the heart of the Nighthawks in Tingan City is wild. Okay. Yeah, this thing is dangerous. I'm pretty sure the, like, thing that she is carrying the monster is, oh, geez, that looks crazy, is supposed to be the, Sequence 4 mythical monster, but maybe it was her, but regardless, we don't know how to handle her. Use your precognition, my guy. Maybe it would have been better for him to keep it. Just because of the precognition being able to maybe pin her down. Okay. Jesus. Are those, like, her hair turned into spikes? God, the way she's moving is so fucked up. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, no, they're still getting through. Holy shit. You're not going to be able to defend against her. This is literally just stall for time moment. God. But yeah, the way that it really is like she's crawling with her arms, like, bent backwards is, and her head is just turned around is fucked up. Really good monster design. Oh? Ooh, he set up a ritual already. Okay. What is he doing? Okay, cool. Just stalling her, slowing her down. Ooh! Visually, I love that. Submit. What's that green light? Come on, Leonard. Plunder. Okay, yeah. What did that shut down? Maybe. She has enough power that I'm not... Jesus Christ. I'm not surprised that she's fighting back this hard. But there's the Ashes effect again, I think. There he is from a safe distance, all things considered. But not going to be safe for long. Jesus Christ. Ooh, the hall. The memorial hall. Holy shit. Wow. You okay, they're done? Him down? 10 seconds. Okay. Oh. Oh, no. Between the music and that, this feels like it might be the end for Dunn. I don't know for sure, though. But holy shit. Come on, Dunn. What are you up to? What are you pulling? Yo! Yeah, power through it, my guy. Ooh. Okay, okay. Finally being able to actually get the Ashes to do something. Is it enough, though? I don't think it is. We've seen Doomsday. But it seems to be working. Holy shit. She's really falling apart. What? What? That was like his own shadow attacking him. What? We're here, though. It's time. Let's go. Let's fucking do this. Klein and Leonard together. The two protagonists of this story, as Leonard would say. Using the sun charm. Okay, holding nothing back. Yeah, didn't expect that, did you guys? Holy shit. She's still fighting back, though. Jesus Christ. The power of the fucking sun. Got all these, like, faces pulling out of her. Ah. This is hype as hell. That can't be the end, though, can it? No. Oh, precognition? Oh, fuck. Whoa, the way that pierced. Oh, fuck. Oh, oh. Yeah, she's just losing more and more control. Whoa. Holy shit. We only have a half hour for that thing, though, the sealed artifact. Whoa. Yeah, no, we're not gonna be able to hold out for long. We might need that second sun charm. Holy shit. Keep running, people! Yeah, keep go- Oh? Oh? Who's this? Ooh. Another Nighthawk? Reinforcements have arrived? This is an entirely different vibe. Who is this? Ooh. I'd real appreciate if he sped up, though. We're hanging on by a fucking thread down here. Whoa. Was that his shadow protecting him to a degree? Or was that the shadow fucking him up? Old man. Yeah, no, the shadow protecting him. Very roughly. Very messily. But holy shit. It saved his life there. Oh, fuck. Not fucking good that the... Ooh. Holy shit. I think this is the moment from episode 1, essentially. Yeah, this is like... This is the moment. This is where we picked up. That big boom is coming. Is that maybe the power of this this Nighthawk from HQ? Done, yo! Not down for the count yet! But he's pushing himself. Holy shit. Ooh. What is this? What is he doing? Oh, and okay, yeah. What? Oh. Oh, come on, Dunn, be okay. Come on, Klein. You picked up that sun charm. Jesus Christ. God, they're doing the body horror well in here. Oh, fuck. The true creator's nearly here. Ooh. Getting a glimpse into her head at this time? Ooh, the shadow of the true creator over the city. Holy shit. Come on, guys. Just gotta hold out long enough for those reinforcements. Come on. Come on. We can't let it happen. Stand up, Klein. Oh, no. Don't fucking tell me it's Dunn's time. Don't fucking do this. It felt like a death flag before. It really did, but... yeah. I don't see how he makes it out of this. I mean... to stop this, it makes sense. It makes sense, but God! Of all ways for Dunn to go out, saving this city makes the most sense. Whoa. Holy whoa. Is this what the true power of the Ashes is? No, it's not going to work anymore. He's got this. Oh, fuck. But everyone's with him. Yeah. He's always been the one carrying everyone on his back. He's giving everything, but it's enough. There they are. Neon Kenley. They're helping out. Do it. He's giving you this chance. Yeah. Fucking end this. And there's the light. There is the light we saw. The all-enveloping light at the beginning. It was not the destruction of the city, it was the saving of it. Yeah. Okay. They did it. They did it. Yeah. We did it. You lived long enough to see us succeed. You have. You have. Goodbye, Dunn. You did good, Captain. Of course, his thoughts go to Dally. They always seem to have more of a relationship. That's not going to do it. He's missing his heart. There's nothing to save left. What? What? Those weren't reinforcements! Or if they were, they... I don't know what they're doing! What the fuck? Who the fuck are you? The fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, no, that's... What? What is happening? I've finally come out? Freedom? Oh. 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 The fucking Archbishop? According to plan, holy shit. Everything was a game. Everything was a predestined story. Okay. Yeah. Is that not expected? Okay. That was not planned. They used it to their plan, though. Yeah, okay. So, Insei... Yeah. Saw through the coincidences. Okay. This was all a scheme even beyond the Aurora Order, I guess? Ah, that's the red smokestacks. Okay. So we already, just by being around, was fucking up his plan to a degree. The acting part digestion was interrupted. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the plan was changed and Dunn was at the center of it. Okay. Consumed the ashes, okay. Death pathway to Evernight? Whoa! And that's the quill. Okay, so that's how it all works out. The quill tells the story. It writes the story. It writes the script. No wonder this is a fucking grade 0 sealed artifact. Something tells me it's not that simple, though. It can't be that simple. Yeah. Still have the rest of the Nighthawks. Do we enter Leonard's perspective now? Okay. They're taking this seriously. That's good. Oh. Oh. He wants revenge. He wants payback. Okay. Oh, God. They're not going to be happy about Klein. Yeah. Though I doubt he'll stay dead. Oh, God. They bought tickets to something? God, that thing we were seeing before, I guess? She was looking at something before. Yeah. Oh? Leonard, yeah. No. He's here with bad news. Yeah. Can't be that simple, though. Even if we're seeing the funeral, it can't be that simple. Oh. Those were handed to them. Okay. Huh. And then there's Dunn. Yeah. I'm so curious what their relationship was. Were they just close friends, or... Hmm. Oh, dropping it into the grave. Hmm. He earned a proper funeral. Everyone was there. I feel so fucking bad for the Morettis, though. Oh, they had no idea what he was doing. They had no idea what risk he was at. They had no way to understand. Who's that? Azik? Watching from afar, I imagine? Yeah. Yeah. Really? Okay. He learned something. Hmm. It's far from the most important thing right now, but I certainly wonder what the Tarot Club will think when there's no other meeting. Or that Dunn is, well, not Dunn, Klein isn't there. If it somehow can still persist without him, which I doubt. Hmm. But the sun still rises on Tingan City. It was saved thanks to Dunn and Klein. Ooh, the echoes of Hornacus. Yeah, this isn't over. His role is not done. Yeah. Whatever is behind the great fog is not done with him. Ooh, the throne once more. The throne in the Evernight ruins, I assume. Ah, the pupil symbol. That's what was shown by the thing in the Chanis Gate. And now into the fog. It's gonna be what saves him, somehow. No heart there, but you regenerate anyways. There's more to the regeneration than just the moment of transmigration, it would seem. Okay. And thus the divine realm builds itself again. Okay. It is not that easy to kill a fool. And the whistle comes to him because it was given to him in his grave? Yeah, what are you? That's the question. Maybe. Maybe. Who knows what you have become? Ooh, the ashes? Yeah, a glimpse of the man who killed you. Insa, yeah. The Archbishop. I knew he would have a role in all of this. It seems like it. It writes the script and everything follows it. There has to be some kind of restriction, of course. You were a thorn in his side, an anomaly, a variable he couldn't control. But the erratic behavior of Dunn, yeah, that's what that was. Ooh. Ooh. I'm loving how they're, like, layering this. Huh. He's just going straight for the key info, though. Lenevis and Ince's locations and how to grow stronger. And they are all one and the same. Backland. It all leads to the capital. Yeah. Dunn. A true guardian is right. Dunn isn't going to have the same way out that Klein did. You did good, Dunn. Without you, this city would not be saved. What is Klein gonna do now? Is he gonna show himself again? How is he gonna explain that he is alive again? He was buried. Or is he just gonna go to Backland, leave it all behind? Yeah. I don't think he's gonna face them. That hurts them a lot, though. Even to just know that their brother is alive, even if they don't know the context, would be better than just leaving them with nothing. Oh? Oh? What's this? Is he to become a clown now? Step into the new identity? Yeah. Yeah. It almost mirrors the first episode. Wow. 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 Okay. What a way to end things. Klein Moretti is dead. It is time for him to become the clown. Wow. So, holy shit, okay. This leaves us in such a wildly different spot. I could have never predicted this. Klein is gone. All that's left is a clown, a fool. Leonard seeks revenge. He wishes to become a Red Glove so he can hunt down Ince. Klein and Leonard's goals are aligned, just separate. They're bound to cross paths again in the future, just we don't know how long that will take. But he is not strictly a Nighthawk anymore, in the case of Klein. Though I don't even know if Klein is a name he will continue to use anymore. For simplicity, I'll continue using it for now, but... Wow. Wow. Oh. Now to Backland. One last thing. Do we get a glimpse of the future? Of where Klein goes or where our enemies go? Sherlock Moriarty? What? Is that his new alias? Holy shit, okay. My guy making up some cool ass names for himself that are definitely not pulling from anything else. Wow. This truly changes everything. This is really such a good finale. This is a perfect conclusion to a season. It leaves so much concluded from what we had in season 1 while continuing some of the key elements forward. Every key character that we cared about is either set up for the future or gone, or was just already, in the grand scheme of things, too insignificant to really matter, which is sort of mean to say, but I don't think the Morettis are going to matter in the future much. Maybe we'll return to them in the future someday, but not for a while, I imagine. Same with a lot of the lower power members of the Nighthawks who we did not get to see much of. Of the people who we might see, I imagine that Leonard, at some point in the future, it may not be immediately, but he will certainly come back in the future as he wishes to become a Red Glove, and he wishes revenge, presumably, on Inse, or at the very least, to do something about all that. So he inevitably has ideals aligned with what Klein inevitably is trying to do as well. So they're bound to cross paths again. Whether that is before he becomes a Red Glove or not is to be seen, but he already was one of the characters that we had a ton of focus on in this series, so it's almost guaranteed that we will continue to have that. Dunn was another character of similar levels of relevancy to the story, and of course he is gone now. He went out exactly how I would expect him to, how is most right for him. The man who represents the burden of being a Nighthawk, the burden of protecting his city, of protecting humanity against these monsters. The man who burdens himself the most with the loss of his comrades. It makes complete sense that he would go out wielding the power that is at his disposal to save this city. That is the only way that I feel like he could go out. But for those who still survive that are not Leonard or Dunn, Dally, I imagine, will have a role in the future. Perhaps in a very different way than anyone, but nonetheless, she also likely will want to avenge Dunn or find closure in continuing to protect the world and protect the city and all of that. Now we are gone out of Tingen, but we're in Backland, which is where she is actually based in. So it makes plenty of sense that we will run into her. Azik is still around, and last place he was investigating was in Backland, and he mentioned that he believes to have found the identity of the person behind everything. And then of course we all have all the Tarot Club members, and at the center of it all, we have Klein, or perhaps more accurately now, Sherlock Moriarty. It's gonna take me a while to adjust to that name, simultaneously because I've been just used to saying Klein or Joe, and also the name Sherlock Moriarty is fucking wild. And then of course, being in Backland, being in the capital, we're just innately closer to the grander scale elements of the setting, at least in the context we know them to be currently. We'll inevitably interact with the other Red Gloves, probably. We've already met one of them a couple episodes back. There is a lot of potential for what can happen moving to Backland, especially because if we look to the stuff that presumably is tying into the special episode, that'll be a thing. There's the one pirate admiral that Alger was looking for the whereabouts of, actually also tying into all of this, though we don't have confirmation that Audrey is in Backland. She is greatly tied to the nobility and aristocracy and government of the Lowen Kingdom, and therefore is very likely to either be in Backland or visit Backland at some point, which could hypothetically be one of the first times that the Tarot Club meets in person to a degree. Though I don't know if that'll happen, because if that happens, it will be a very complicated thing. I feel like it's much more likely that Klein runs into her at some point, potentially, and he sort of hides the fact that he's the fool. But there is the potential there. And of course, if this stuff with the pirate admiral brings Alger to Backland, then that is another aspect. Who knows about Derek? That's a whole other wild card we know nothing about yet. But regardless, there is a lot of potential here. There's so much potential here. And we finally, with the finale, have the name and face of effectively what our main antagonist going forward into the next arc is. It is the former Archbishop Inset, or however you say his name. He is the one who had that one grade 0 sealed artifact, and it is what has written this entire script. It is what that crimson writing was in these last couple episodes. It is what influenced Dunn's decisions. It has to have some kind of limitation, some kind of restriction, as Klein acknowledged, but we don't know what that is, and we can just tell that it orchestrated all of these events, even adjusting when it came to the fact that Klein was not part of its plan, which is very, very interesting. This points to the transmigration element being a wild card. That was not expected. Of course, this is assuming that all of the masterminding of the background is just Insei and there isn't a grander level of it, that there isn't a figure behind him that is also manipulating events, that is more aware of stuff. But if not, if it is really just him wielding this incredibly powerful sealed artifact, that really does define, even if we don't know much about a lot of stuff, it does define a lot more of what is known and isn't, because as far as we know, though there could be shenanigans involved, people like Azek exist. As far as we know, Insei is not some like immortal being who has lived through the centuries, who could have been involved in influencing Roselle via Zaratul and stuff. That is hypothetically possible, but there is currently no explicit signs of that. So it more so points to me that that might have actually been a bit of a coincidence, the transmigration of Klein, and thus enabling for the influence of Klein via the diary to go into Seer and all that stuff, though it was integrated into the plan afterwards. That being something that wasn't planned for by Insei when using this artifact does help to put in scale how much of this was predetermined, how much of this was planned. Though, of course, there could be wild cards involved, there could be wild twists and reveals that completely recontextualize this kind of stuff. But at the very least for now, I feel like I have a much more concrete level of understanding of how much was planned. With that, though, with that said, I think I want to take a step back from the future and look to the past. Look to some other aspects of this episode and the season as a whole. This episode was effectively just dealing with the climax and conclusion to this arc and the starting of the next one. I covered the starting of the next one already just now. As for the conclusion, it felt right. It felt good. It paid off a lot of elements. There was nothing that happened that wasn't set up in some way. Though we didn't know the full context of how certain artifacts worked, like the ashes, we had all of the pieces in play. We knew that Leonard's shadow was more than it let on, and that there's some person or figure or echo of a person who has been helping him, who seemingly, I would like to remind, had this one moment where it saved Leonard, where it seemed to sort of propel him out of harm's way. It still caused him to get injured and knocked out and stuff, but it seemed to have saved him. And he had this moment of, like, remarking like old man or something like that in response to that. So I'll be curious to learn more about that eventually, once hypothetically another season comes or I choose to read the source material. We knew about that, so though it was a surprise to see, it wasn't a surprise in the process of learning that that's a thing that can happen. The use of the Sun Charms was set up as a trump card in a dire circumstance. The fact that we had to use 2 was extremely crazy, but it makes sense how dire things were. Dunn's sacrifice, as I've acknowledged, makes a lot of sense and served as a really strong bow to the narrative element of what the Nighthawks are, what their purpose is, what they must be willing to do. Very much so, the death of Dunn is a thematic payoff to everything we have set up about him and the Nighthawks. Regardless of what it may seem, they are miserable wretches who are just fighting for control, who will do what they can to protect people. They're guardians of the city that nobody other than those in the know will ever be able to truly think. And it even in that gave some level of resolution to Neil and Kenley's deaths. The 2 of them being there in spirit with him truly brought it home for me. Beyond that though, that pretty much is the whole episode, because it was a big fight with a lot of crazy stuff happening, the twist of Insei appearing and killing Klein, and then the setup for the future. To look at the season as a whole though, to give a little retrospective of it and my opinion of it, I think it was quite good. It was nice. I liked it. No, but to be a bit more serious about it, I think that this is a very stylish show. This is a series that very much has a very, very distinct identity. It's something born out of very classic vibes and themes, being in this sort of Victorian steampunk era with elements of eldritch horror imbued into everything. It works really, really well. It visually is super distinct. Stylistically, I was never disappointed with the visuals, the ideas, the designs, the music, any of that. Everything worked well together with that. With all that said, though, it wasn't necessarily perfect. There was a lot of use of 3D elements that were to varying degrees of success, I would say. Visually speaking, for the most part, they used it really well. They used it to have these big dynamic moments with these arcing shots and dynamic following of characters that in high action moments really worked well, in my opinion. In slower moments, there are some awkward points. Throughout the show, there have been moments where we'll see like a character running across the screen in a 3D environment and it looks a bit awkward, like they look not quite right at their pace or their movement in the environment. But that's something I can forgive. That's something that inevitably is always difficult between interacting with 2D and 3D elements. Very few studios, I feel like, have any capacity to really perfectly gel that always. Of course, there are standouts in that field, but there's never going to be a 100% win rate, and largely speaking, this show, I feel like, did a very good job. Of course, also, there are moments where there's some like 3D background elements that sometimes are very noticeable, but it ultimately isn't that big. Narratively speaking, though, I would say that after this final episode, I feel very happy about the story. I feel very good about it. I think that a lot of the elements really worked together and played well. Most of the things that were set up were paid off in some way, even if it was to just kick it down the road for the future. We had at least a touchstone on most things, with a few key exceptions, but I was aware going into this that we were going to have stuff going into the future anyways, so I'm not surprised by that. I expected it even. Things like Trissy not being involved after her introduction is interesting. I feel like hypothetically it could have been good if there was some additional tied to her, but I really don't think there needed to be. It probably would have just bloated the story more than anything. And to an extent, it is nice to have a character that we set up for the far future. Similarly, Azek lands in a role like that, but he was much more prevalent during the story after his introduction, so I'm much more fine with that. And beyond them, really outside of some of the grander scale things that we get introduced to as later threats, really only a few of the characters that we have in the story are going to directly be carried over into the next arc. Beyond those two, though, looking at other characters that will be relevant in the future, a lot of characters, I imagine, will not be coming back in any major form. Most of the Nighthawks, I don't think will. I think Leonard and Dali are pretty much the main ones of the ones we really sort of got to know. We might get cameos of some of the other Tengen Nighthawks at some point, but we're leaving Tengen City and we really didn't get to know any of the others. Of course, the members of the Terror Club will continue to be relevant. They always did feel like they were tied to grander scheme things anyways, so I'm not surprised by that. I'm excited to see how that grows and develops going forward in general. And overall, this is just to say that I'm generally happy with how they use their characters in this. We didn't waste too much time in getting to know characters that we weren't needing to know about. When characters died, we gave them pretty much the amount of time that I feel like they were worth. Neil got about half an episode dedicated to his downfall. Haver was much more of a plot point than anything, but also served for a couple arcs as a motivator. Kenley's death was tragic, but we didn't linger on the actual moment too much, as he was someone who we spent a little bit of time with, but really didn't know better than any of the other minor Nighthawks. And then Dunn gets this big, meaty send-off, where he gets his moment. It's a tragic moment, but it isn't one that is completely sad. It is bittersweet because he is saving the city, and he goes out saying, "We are saving the city." And in his final moments, he can recognize, we've done it. I have completed my duty. I have achieved everything that I needed to, and now I can rest. Of course, there would inevitably be regrets, but I think it was, as I've said before, a perfect send-off for a character that we did get to know quite well, and I'm very happy with it. Beyond all that, though, I don't necessarily know if I want to give any too concrete opinion on the grander sort of themes and mysteries and stories, because though I've given some opinions so far already, both now and just throughout the series, this isn't the end of the series, and this isn't the end of many of the mysteries, and therefore, it, to a degree, is disingenuous to say my opinions on the whole story and where it's going when I don't even know everything of where it's going. In this moment, I'm happy with the story. There are some moments of messiness, some things that could have been better, some things that I might have changed, but largely speaking, for the kind of story this is, it does its job. It does it well, and I enjoy it. It's good. With that, though, that is the end of the season. That is the end of Lord of Mysteries. I still need to look into what that special episode is about, like what the deal with that is, when that's coming out, that kind of thing. Depending on that, I potentially will make a video on that whenever I can, and at this point, I'm just sort of rambling, so I'll leave it there. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and very special thanks to all of my channel members, including Amorphosilica, Desaize, and Pokelove 101 at the normal tier, and Kano Nano at the cool person tier. Really appreciate your support, as always, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye!